Hey guys, time for Tech News Day.
So we got a lot to cover today, but let's just get the worst news of the week right out of the way.
It's been a bad couple of weeks.
Yeah, so on Tuesday, a woman showed up at YouTube's headquarters in San Bruno, just south of San Francisco, and shot 3 people who were eating lunch on an outdoor patio before killing herself. As of when we're filming this, all the victims are alive, though one is in critical condition. And at this point, it's pretty clear that the motive here was anger over the woman's YouTube channel being demonetized and not getting as many views as she wanted.
Yeah, apparently she had been lower than the threshold to keep the actual status as partner. So
yeah, I mean, these are all things that we and plenty of other people have expressed frustration over, but Jesus fucking Christ, this is, the whole thing's just very messed up and weird and sad.
This is not how to handle anything.
No.
Bad.
So, yeah, we're hoping for a safe recovery for those victims, and we're glad that this horrible situation didn't end up even worse.
Yeah, it was fucking jarring seeing that on the news yesterday. But yeah. Moving on to some less depressing news. The specter of automation stealing everyone's jobs might not be quite as serious as originally thought. Now, much of the current fear over automation disrupting the workforce and causing unemployment comes from a 2013 Oxford University study that said around 47% of jobs in the US were at high risk of becoming automated. Which, yeah, it's definitely cause for concern, and I'm sure a lot of you out there have been concerned about this. Especially when if you're a younger person choosing what field to go into, gives you a little pause sometimes. Yeah. No. But anyway, there's a new study from the OECD, the Organization for Economic Cooperation, which is a forum for various governments to study and discuss economic issues. And its conclusions are that, yeah, the robots are going to take a lot of people's jobs, but probably not nearly as many, at least not as bad as we previously thought.
Yeah, so the robo-apocalypse has been downgraded.
Yeah.
Instead of nearly half of all jobs being at risk of automation, the new study found that only 14% of jobs in OECD countries like the US, UK, Canada, and Japan are highly automatable, meaning those jobs have a 70% chance of being automated. Now this is still, however, it means that 13 million jobs here in the US will become obsolete due to automation, causing unemployment to go up by around 5%. Pretty bad. So, yeah, not great at all still, especially for young, low-skilled workers.
Also, if you keep moving the goalposts on this, the numbers are gonna go down every year that they are like, oh, yeah, less jobs are gonna be automated, because I guarantee you, since 2013, there have been jobs taken over by automation, and those aren't counted in this study.
No, they're not going to be automated.
They are. It's already automated.
So we're gonna take those out.
Yeah, so all the people that work at fast food restaurants as cashiers, they're like, oh, well, they're not in the pool anymore for jobs that might be taken over, because they are taken over in a lot of places.
I used the robot the other day at a McDonald's.
Yeah?
I felt really bad about it, but the people in front of me were taking forever. I'm like, I'm sorry. It's hot and I don't want to stand here.
Yes.
I will use the machine.
Anyways, people with degrees and training will have more job security because they can still do things that machines simply can't do reliably at this point. So if you want to get ahead of this, get off your ass and get some skills.
Women love skills.
So do men. I'm very turned on by the skills that my fiance has.
I'm a sapiosexual. I'm attracted to skills.
Not those kind of skills, guys. Get your head out of the gutter. Anyways, that's going to be the only way to ensure that instead of getting replaced by a robot, you end up working alongside the robots, or even managing the robots.
I am the king of the robots.
Yes, they do my bidding, but then they'll turn on you. Now, speaking of all this, moving on, over in China, a bunch of, say it.
Criminals.
No, the other one, China.
Oh, China.
A bunch of criminals figured out a way to use drones to smuggle iPhones from Hong Kong into Shenzhen in a plan that sounds way too ridiculous to actually work.
And so basically they'd attach 660 feet worth of fishing line to a drone and then have that drone carry it across the river from an apartment in Shenzhen to a construction site across the river in Hong Kong. The specifics of how this worked aren't entirely clear, but they were able to create a pulley system that allowed them to slide bags of up to 10 iPhones at a time from Hong Kong into the mainland. And they managed to avoid detection by doing the whole operation in the middle of the night and then disassembling the pulley system before daybreak and then rinse and repeat. It's perfect. Police in Shenzhen eventually caught wind of the fact that $80 million worth of stolen iPhones were swarming their community, and eventually a huge team of 260 cops managed to capture 26 suspects along with 4,000 iPhones and a couple drones.
That's only 10 cops per suspect. They are working in shifts. Cool. Now, while this is illegal, it's a fairly fun way to use modern technology in new and exciting ways. Yeah, much scarier is the idea of a criminal or a terrorist, or really anyone, having access to a gun-toting killer robot who makes all its own decisions and on who to kill. It's still just a fantasy though, but a university in South Korea is apparently close enough to making it a reality that 50 leading AI robotics and AI researchers around the world have issued a boycott on working with that university until they promise, pinky swear, that the weaponry they're developing will have sufficient human control. Then why don't they just call Uber? Hey, send us some of your very angry, self-killing cars.
Yeah. Road rage. Automated.
Yeah, you just dial in an address where you want someone to die and Uber will do the rest of the work.
It's like a guided missile.
They settled that case, by the way.
Oh, good.
Fast settlement.
Anyway, KAIST University in Korea, they announced back in February that they were launching a joint research center with South Korean defense company Hanwha Systems with the goal of developing AI technologies to be used in military weapons that would be able to search for and eliminate targets without human control. And both parties are already well equipped to do exactly that, and quickly. KAIST University previously won a DARPA robotics competition, and Hanwha Systems already has automated sentry guns set up on the border between North and South Korea that treats any heat signatures that it sees crossing the border as a threat.
With these two entities working together on defense technologies that are going to be super lucrative, it's unclear if a boycott on research collaboration will even matter. The UN is meeting next week to talk about potential restrictions on so-called killer robots, so we'll just have to see if anything meaningful comes out of that. I don't know how we would enforce that because I can't imagine actual soldiers going over to, handle things because they're like, well, no, we're gonna be fighting robots. Fuck that.
Yeah.
And then we're just gonna have to build our own robots.
It's true. It's true. It's just like with nuclear weapons. Don't. Well, shit. I guess I'll get my own nuclear weapons.
Now, previously when the topic has come up at the UN, countries like the US and UK have argued that regulation would be impractical since so much existing military technology already utilizes some degree of automation. But if the people most closely involved in researching artificial intelligence say it's a bad idea, it's probably worth listening to them.
Yeah, I don't know. Hear them out, I guess.
Toby Walsh, the organizer of the boycott, said in a statement, "This Pandora's box will be hard to close if it is opened, like most Pandora's boxes."
Yeah, I don't know if a Pandora's box has ever been closed.
Yeah, it's kind of like the opposite of Schrodinger's cat. Because it's open, and it's gonna happen, and you can't stop it.
Yeah.
It's not what's in the box, and is it alive? It's fuck.
Yeah.
We're screwed.
Yeah. Anyway, if all that makes you absolutely terrified of the future, though, maybe this will help. Russia has been talking about replacing their postal service with drones for a couple of years, and this week they finally debuted that effort. And in the program's inaugural launch, their $20,000 mail drone was in the air for about 10 seconds before it completely lost control and fell from the sky, crashing into a building on its way down and shattering into a pile of broken pieces, and saved jobs.
Yeah.
I suspect sabotage. It was a small victory in our war on machines, but we'll take it.
How big was the payload on this drone? How many letters or packages or what?
I mean, it's $20,000. It was like 50 pounds or something like that.
Maybe they just overloaded it. Or it really was probably sabotage because whoever was, doing this for the Russian postal service is probably like, this is the end of my career if this works.
Yeah.
So it's suspicious, as is everything over there. But anyway, folks, a recent study out of Princeton University found that only around 10% of YouTuber sponsorships are disclosed at all. And even fewer are properly disclosed by FTC standards. But not us. We disclose. You've seen it. And right now, we'd like to disclose that this episode is sponsored by Jamf Now. Jamf Now helps you set up, manage, and protect your Apple devices on demand. It's pretty easy to keep track of your own Mac, iPad, or iPhone, but what about your other Apple devices in your organization? As a business grows, so does its collection of devices, making it increasingly difficult to manage everyone's iPad, iPhone, and Mac. Now, this is especially true if employees are in different locations or if they're thieves.
Yeah.
You never know.
You never know until it happens. With Jamf Now, you can check real-time inventory, configure Wi-Fi and email settings, deploy applications, protect sensitive company data, and even lock or wipe a device from anywhere. Jamf Now manages and protects your devices so you can focus on your business instead. No IT experience needed. And now, our viewers
That's you.
can start securing their business today, setting up the first 3 devices for free, forever. You can add more for just $2 a month per device. Create your free account today at jamf.com/newsday. That's jamf.com/NEWSDAY.
Now, anyways, we've already covered real-life Terminators, robots taking everyone's jobs, and an active shooter situation that ended in a suicide. It'd be great to get some positivity in here right now. But no. Sorry, Phil Arrigo's here again to poop in your cereal. Phil, on top of everything else, what went wrong this week?
Wow, that's a bunch of terrible news. Oh wait, that's you guys doing the bad news. All right, my turn. So Facebook's been in the spotlight for massive data breaches and mishandling user data, and you're probably real sick of hearing about that. So let's move off of that one huge data catastrophe into several smaller but equally terrible data catastrophes.
Yay.
Hi, I'm Phil, and welcome to The World's Terrible. You ever eat at Panera Bread? Well, if you have, and you've ordered online, you may have won the chance to be one of up to 37 million customers whose names, email, physical addresses, birthdays, and the last 4 digits of your credit card used. They're all public domain now. Why? Because the data was transmitted via plain text, which means it wasn't encrypted at all. Panera, the soup and bread people, said, hey man, only 10,000 of those accounts were affected and no payment data was leaked, so we're just gonna have to wait to see who was right. Bread's boring, all right, so let's move on to a dating app, Grindr, who's been sharing users' HIV status with multiple outside companies. You heard that right. They didn't get hacked. They were willingly sharing users' HIV status along with their GPS data, phone IDs, and email addresses, which makes it fairly easy to assemble the real-life identity of users, which is creepy. Can this get worse? The GPS location, sexuality, relationship status, and phone ID were being shared with advertising companies, sometimes being unencrypted. Man, the world is terrible. Since this story broke, Grindr has stopped sharing HIV data, so someone should go and make a good guy Grindr meme like it's 2008, where he only shares everything else about you except your HIV status. Now, let's move on to the gold and silver medal of all these scary breaches this week. MyFitnessPal, an app owned by Under Armour, says that 150 million of their accounts were hacked, but only email addresses and passwords were compromised. So on its face, in 2018, this is a normal breach, which sucks for people who use the same passwords for all their accounts. So if your MyFitnessPal password is the same as your other stuff, change them ASAP. Now, the bigger issue here is the fact that Under Armour has purchased 3 large companies since 2013. They bought MyFitnessPal, they bought MapMyFitness, and Endomondo. So these apps track intimate details about people's lives, what food they eat, their exact GPS data, when they exercise, their age, their weight, medical conditions, and all sorts of other stuff that people put in to try to be healthier. Me, I've been using Endomondo to track my running and hiking since 2011, and when they got bought by Under Armour, so did all of my data back when I was using Android, and I was like, hey, I like this small startup app. Now imagine if you were someone who used all 3 of these completely independent apps and put all your stuff in. Well, now that means Under Armour now owns all that explicit data on you and can paint a very accurate picture of you, who they're gonna sell to advertisers or whoever they want to who has the most money. What's worse is that if they get hacked again beyond emails and passwords, a normal hack in 2018, a scary amount of an individual's data might end up in the hands of some scary people. But the bigger issue here is, let's say you're like, Phil, I don't even use companies, that's how punk rock I am. Well, do you live in a city? Because the city of Atlanta, Georgia's municipal computers have been infected with the SamSam ransomware, and it spread through their system. So hackers have demanded $51,000. As all their computers are crippled, leaving some police filing reports via handwritten paperwork, as if it's the 1920s where they're trying to get Jack the Ripper.
Snake Plissken was right. We should blow ourselves back to the fucking Stone Age.
I agree. So there's not a ton you can do about breaches, or if you live in a city when your data's being sold.
Hacklanta. Hell yeah.
But the unfortunate lesson here is, don't tell an app, a program, a website, or a company anything you wouldn't want to be known publicly. Or to kind of put it in simpler terms, live it like it's 1985 and you're a weirdo hermit person. What you can do is keep your apps, OS, security software all updated, change your passwords once in a while. It sucks, get a 6-pack, and just waste half a Sunday and you'll feel better about yourself. Now, let's give you some good news. Facebook. Haha. For real though, we did a sketch with Ricky and Elliot and Shibby and a bunch of other people you know. Well, it finally dropped yesterday and you can watch it right now.
Where?
Facebook.com/DankFireShow and peep Avengers, this sitcom. Yes, we shot Avengers as if it was a really terrible present day sitcom. We shot 3 episodes of this, so it's not just this first one. And there's a totally new sketch series coming out with, yes, Ricky, Elliot, Shibby, and a bunch of other people you know and love. So if you're still on Facebook, go there and hit the follow button so the sketches pop up in your feed. But you're like, Phil, I'm not on Facebook, fuck you. Just jump into an incognito window and go to Facebook.com/DankFireShow. And you can watch it. And then when you're in the incognito mode and you're not logged in, Zuckerberg will never know when you pause it on a certain Tugs character that you like and spend some alone time. And that one's a rap fact. See, privacy, it works for you. Who'd you pause it on? I paused it on me.
Put the link in the description.
Link in the description.
Wow, thanks, Phil. I feel great.
Yeah, every week that we do this show, which started out as a fun way to debut new apps, websites, and services, has really, much like everything else, turned into a sad reality.
I think I hate technology now.
Yeah.
I think I want to live in the woods and write a manifesto.
Stop the technology.
Anyway, while we're on the topic of user data being constantly exploited, let's update everyone on where we're at with that whole Facebook and Cambridge Analytica thing.
Yeah.
Now, as you'll recall, Cambridge Analytica paid a guy to create a personality test app for Facebook that granted him access to their profiles as well as all their friends' profiles, which they then took and used for targeted election advertising. It broke Facebook's rules, but only barely, and only because the information was shared. The collecting of data was totally fine. It was a major selling point for Facebook app developers.
I would say that this would have been completely fine with Facebook if it hadn't leaked to the press.
That seems to be a pattern with these people.
Yeah.
And all technology companies.
Yeah, it's fine until you get caught, right, guys? Anyways, when Facebook found out that the data obtained by a Facebook app had been given to a market research company in exchange for money, they probably waited a while until it actually, came out to the surface that it had happened. But no, they swear that they promptly told Cambridge Analytica to pretty please delete the data, which Cambridge Analytica, they pinky promised that they would. Which is strange that in the past probably 2 years, we've seen so many companies, billion-dollar companies, who just make hackers or people utilizing and using their data wrong to just promise.
Yeah.
It doesn't
very
make sense to me.
trusting,
Yeah, it's a very trusting world over there in Silicon Valley, I guess. But anyways, a former employee alleged a few weeks back that they didn't do that. But Cambridge Analytica, again, they insisted that they totally deleted all the data all the way back to 2015. Well, now UK's Channel 4 investigation into Cambridge Analytica has found out that this data, or at least a big chunk of it, it's still out there, circulating the internet. It's almost like nothing ever really gets deleted once it's online.
Yeah.
Strange how that works.
Weird.
And I just can't believe.
I learned that from a movie called Sex Tape. It's in the cloud.
Life of me, I could not believe that this company would break their pinky promise to Facebook.
I know.
Or that,
who can you trust?
Or that any of the other people who have violated websites or used data for nefarious means, that when they promise to delete something, that they don't do it. It's so strange to me. Oh, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Update. It wasn't just 50 million users. Facebook has now admitted that it was 87 million users, which seems like a drop in the bucket when you're talking about that many people, but it's not. It's almost double.
They were rounding down to the nearest 50 million.
They seem to be coming out with a lot of information now because they're like, all right, we've been through the worst. Let's just tell everyone everything now.
Yeah. It's like your wife catches you cheating on her and you're like, well,
at least that's over with.
There's a chance we could resolve this, but I'm just gonna lay it all out there.
Yeah.
So that then, clean start. If you get caught for doing something bad, just admit to everything.
Yeah, it's like when you die and you get to start life over again.
Yes.
As we all know.
As a bug.
Yeah, or a cheetah. I mean, it's up to you.
Or a tortoise.
Depends how good you are in this current life. I want to come back as a house cat.
That's the ultimate. After that, nirvana.
But like to a rich person though. Like
Right.
I don't want to be wallowing in my own piss and shit.
Yeah,
like
no.
some person who doesn't take care of me house.
Yeah.
I want to live with Phil.
I want to be Jeff Bezos' cat.
Yeah. Phil, he only verbally abuses me once a night when he gets home after the stress of a long day at work thinking about tech problems.
Get over here, cat!
But then he feeds me, pets me, and I get to watch him and his wife have sex all the time.
Yeah.
It's down to once a week now.
Now, over at Facebook, they got a small taste of their own medicine last week when BuzzFeed anonymously received and then published a leaked internal memo from 2016 written by Facebook Vice President Andrew Bosworth titled The Ugly. And that's an accurate title given the content. Here's some snippets.
We talk about the good and the bad of our work often. I want to talk about the ugly. We connect people. That can be good if they make it positive. Maybe someone finds love. Maybe it even saves the life of someone on the brink of suicide. So we connect more people. That can be bad if they make it negative. Maybe it costs a life by exposing someone to bullies. Maybe someone dies in a terrorist attack coordinated on our tools. And we still connect people.
That isn't something we're doing for ourselves or for our stock price. Ha ha! It is literally just what we do. We connect people, period. That's why all the work we do in growth is justified. All the questionable contact importing practices. All the subtle language that helps people stay searchable by friends. All the work we do to bring more communication in. The work we'll likely have to do in China someday. All of it.
Pretty bleak. And yeah, I mean, the whole thing reads exactly like the sort of sociopathic God complex thinking that you'd assume happens in Silicon Valley boardrooms. And yeah, it's not a great look for them at the moment. The guy kind of sounds like a nihilist. Like, I mean, the
More
results
like
are the
a-
results.
A little Machiavellian.
Yeah, sure.
You gotta break a few eggs.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
But his bleak outlook just speaks volumes.
Yeah.
We're gonna do this, whether people like it or not. Anyways, in a follow-up story in the New York Times, 2 unnamed Facebook employees said that the fallout from the release of that memo has been a lot of anger in the company over leakers, much like the White House. This includes posts on Facebook's internal message board calling for a hunt to find leakers, as well as hiring practices that try to weed out leakers before they can get in the door, because, I don't know, I guess private personal information is sacred and needs to be protected.
Yeah. Weird.
Weird.
Anyway, Marky Mark Zuck, he's now scheduled to appear before the U.S. House of Representatives Energy and Commerce Committee next Wednesday to answer some questions about how it handles user data. And that'll hopefully be broadcast by C-SPAN because it will surely be a joy to watch him uncomfortably answer angry questions from old white lawmakers. Meanwhile, new EU laws that were agreed on before any of this about privacy and data protections, they go into effect next month. So Reuters, when they were talking to Zuckerberg, they asked him, hey, why not just extend the new EU version of Facebook with all the built-in disclosures and consent to just everyone across the world? Seems like it would solve a lot of this. To which Zuckerberg replied that they'd be doing so in spirit, but would be making exceptions, which he declined to describe in any detail at all.
I mean, we gotta make a buck, you know? I like how Zuckerberg is like halfway turning into what Martin Shkreli turned into after he was exposed. He's like towing the line. Like last week he was like, you signed up for this. He hasn't gone evil with it yet, but when he starts buying rare albums, that's when you know the Zuck is
Mark
fucked.
Zuckerberg doesn't listen to music.
Oh, people like this? I would like it too.
He listens to old modems connecting at 14.
Yeah.
Yeah. He has a CD of nature sounds
Yeah.
that he puts on at night while he goes and stands in a corner while his wife sleeps.
Yeah. He has
Don't mind
17
me, you sleep.
17 ambiance apps going at all times, but
Yes.
all different kind of noises.
Yeah.
I'm in a river. It's raining, birds are chirping, and cars are driving by. It doesn't make sense, but there's also the sounds of the city.
Anyway,
It's the only way I can get off anymore.
that is our show.
Yeah.
Again, thank you to Jamf Now for sponsoring this episode. Disclosed. Jamf Now helps you set up, manage, and protect your Apple devices on demand. It's pretty easy to keep track of your own Mac, iPad, or iPhone, but what about the other Apple devices in your organization? Jamf Now manages and protects your devices so you can focus on your business instead. No IT experience needed. Now our viewers can start securing their business today, setting up the first 3 devices for free forever, and you can add more for just $2 a month per device. Create your free account today at jamf.com/newsday. That's jamf.com/newsday.
Yeah. Well, we'll see you guys soon. While you're waiting, check out some content over here. We have a brand new episode of Tugs where Overwatch is getting a Battle Royale mode. You'll have to find out. Also, check out our live show on Monday where we had Josh McCouga in to show us his muscles.
Check it out.
Bye.